I'm not that interested in standing up for powerful white men anymore who obviously don't have everybody's best interests at heart. There is a much wider story that I think needs to be told about how people can protect themselves and their own data, and how the centralization of data is no longer the way that our world should work. My name is Brittany Kaiser. I have been the director of business development for Cambridge Analytica for the past few years.
Do you think the British public were misled over Cambridge Analytica's work on the referendum?
I think the public lines of Leave EU and of Cambridge Analytica were so constantly conflicting, as well as the lines of some of the other consultants, that there seems to be no clear explanation of what actually happened. And so I feel like it's important for everybody to hear that.
Alexander Nix said, "We did not work on the EU referendum with that organisation or any other organisation." Is that true?
I wouldn't say so, no.
So he misled Parliament?
If that's the way you want to take it.
When you were told by your senior executives that the company line was that you'd done no work on Brexit, how did you feel?
I was so angry. I was so upset. I called our head of HR, he called me, I can't remember which one, to have a discussion about it, and I yelled over the phone. I cried over the phone because I couldn't believe that I was being told to say the opposite of what I had been told to go along with for so many months.
Do you feel you were hung out to dry?
Yes. I was asked to be the face of this campaign because my executives as British people did not want to be involved in something so controversial. And then I was called a liar by not, explaining to the press what the situation was, when I was quite confident that when I was giving those interviews to the press that real work was being undertaken. And no, we didn't run the whole campaign, and maybe our work wasn't used. But when I talked to the press, we were actually undertaking data work and analysis.
Do you know anything about Cambridge Analytica's involvement in the Trump campaign?
Yes, I do know about Cambridge Analytica's involvement in the Trump campaign because I've been a director of business development for many years, and my job is to tell clients about what projects we have successfully undertaken and give presentations of the Trump case study as an example of what we could undertake for them.
To the best of your knowledge, what role did Alexander Nix play in the Trump campaign?
Alexander was probably one of the main people that was in charge of negotiating the contract with the Trump campaign and for making strategic alliances with individuals who might be able to help with some of our super PAC activities. I don't know if he really did much on a day-to-day basis in terms of interacting with individuals that executed the campaign, but in terms of higher-level strategic value, he was incredibly important.
Strategic alliances with super PACs sounds a bit like coordination.
No, he wasn't somebody who worked on the day-to-day issues on the Trump campaign, but obviously he was working with all of the big donors, with people who were Trump supporters, in order to see how Cambridge Analytica could add strategic value.
What's your own political leaning?
My own political leaning seems more libertarian these days, actually, to be fair, but I've always been a very far left human rights activist. I started working for Howard Dean when I was still in high school, John Kerry, Barack Obama's senatorial campaign, his first presidential, Amnesty International, United Nations, agencies undertaking human rights research.
So how did it feel then to play a role in the election of Donald Trump?
It was quite interesting, considering I voted for Bernie Sanders and couldn't bring myself to vote in the general election. I actually was even fundraising for Ready for Hillary, the super PAC that preceded the Hillary campaign, before I was hired by Cambridge Analytica.
I mean, people might wonder whether that's hypocritical. There's an obvious inconsistency there.
Well, just like when you're trained as a lawyer, if you're trained as a proper political consultant, you should be able to undertake your profession no matter who the client is. Corporations like Google, Facebook, Amazon All of these large companies are making tens or hundreds of billions of dollars off of monetizing people's data. I've been telling companies and governments for years that data is probably your most valuable asset, and individuals should be able to monetize their own data. That's their own human value, and people normally don't see any upside of that and are exploited.